Now then, Gav here. Just to let you know, this is quite a clean episode, actually, so one that you could probably put on for the whole family. Actually, there is one thing. Neil was in the car while recording this, claims that he was on a break from work, but, well, if you believe that, you're more trusting than me. Enjoy. Hello, welcome back to Gas It Out. We are here once again in bright, breezy, beautiful West Yorkshire on this end. And on the other end, Neil Hodgson is out dogging. Is that right?
What? I'm in my car. I'm not dogging. I said I'm driving around naked.
No,
I was saying, is that illegal? That is a question. Can you drive around naked?
If you wear a face mask.
If you're wearing a face mask and you've got gloves on, can you drive around with no kecks on? See what I did there?
Oh,
see what I did there?
Hashtag.
Hashtag the underpants have turned up.
Have they?
Oh my God, Gav. Well, first of all, he's got the size wrong. Size mediums.
Well, he's got it too big, I expect.
So, way too big.
Yeah.
Everything's got to be tight. It's me. And sorry for those of you who didn't listen to the last podcast. We've got our first official massive sponsor, Kex, which is an underpant company that's owned by my mate, Ed Warren. But anyway, he sent these undies, right? He sent me 5 pairs.
Are they Larry?
We'll get there.
Because I've seen them.
Yeah, they're Larry. They're Larry. And you can imagine
Are they for a 56-year-old man?
46, dickhead. 46. Right, listen. I showed them Vic and she just went like this, right? In this funny voice, she went, no. So then I held up some more, she went, no. And then I held up some more like plain ones, she went, oh, they look all right. They're really nice.
You're doing
really
a cracking
quality.
job of sales pitch.
Yeah, sorry. Well, no, but they're for young, cool people, which I looked in the dictionary, I looked under young and cool, and there's definitely not a picture of me, so they're just loud underpants.
That's why I'm surprised they hadn't sent me some, Ed. Yeah, so, because I obviously clearly fit that demographic.
Yeah,
slot right into it. Yeah. I've seen that you've been out spray painting. What have you been doing? I thought, first of all, I saw this video of you in full gear, and I'm thinking, here he is doing something at the hospital. No, spraying.
I'm actually here now. So my mate owns a spray painting shop. Basically, does cars, does stuff for the NHS. So he's been flat out. He's worked all the way through. Anyway, he's mentioned it to me. It's Dickie, who I always talk about.
Pork scratching Dickie.
Pork scratching Dickie, who gets more name shout-outs, name checks than Valentino Rossi. He said, I could do with a hand, really. Next week, I've got so much on. He's on his own, so he needs someone to help him out. We keep away. No one comes there, so it's not like there's like people coming in. So I don't feel like I'm out of order.
So wait a second. He needed a hand, so he got you.
Yeah, well, you know me. Jack of all trades,
I did see someone's comment of more runners than the London Marathon.
Oh, don't get what. But what's funny about Dickie is he's let me have a go. He's like the opposite of what you'd think. Now, I don't mind doing a bit of rubbing down and a bit of masking and all that lot. And if there's got some primer needs to go on, no one's going to see it. Yeah, I'll have a go at that. But he's going, no, come in. No, you finish that off now. You finish it. You can do that. You can put the lacquer on, the clear.
I'd love to do that.
Oh, it's brilliant. Honestly, it's so.
I bet it's
rewarding.
Satisfying. Yeah.
Really satisfying. Yeah. And he's such a good teacher, so I've loved it. I've loved it this week.
So you've basically got yourself a trade.
I've got myself a job. There you go.
Well, when was the last time you had one? 17, was it?
Yeah, 18. 19, sorry. 19. So, no, yeah, 18. 18. So, 1992 was the last time I did a day's work. So, hey, that's some sabbatical, isn't it? Bloody hell.
But you're going to get your BTEC this year. Good on you.
Yeah.
No, actually looked quite good fun. I think everyone has that thing about, I'd love to be able to spray. Have a proper place where you spray
honestly, it's interesting. What you can't believe is how much work goes into preparing a motorcycle, basically the fairing and the tank. Like, when you get a tank, then you have to rub it down, and then you have to put the primer on, and then you have to rub that down, and then you've 3 coats of paint, then 2 coats of lacquer. Like, and you know what I'm like? I'm always intrigued of how much things cost. So I'm like, well, how much is that tin of paint? And he's going, have a guess. And I go, 45. And he'll go, 175. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, how much is the lacquer? And he'll go, guess. And I'm like, all right, 60. And he'll go, that's 200 quid. Everything's expensive, really expensive. Because I'm used to going to B&Q and buying some garden paint and thinking I've been ripped off because I've bought some fence paint. And
you
it's
buy
like
it from B&Q and you know that I should have got to Screwfix, something like that. You know.
Yeah, you're always getting ripped off at B&Q, aren't you? We can say that. There are other places you get ripped off as well.
Yeah. Home base is another one.
Which is the worst, do you think, for getting ripped off? I reckon B&Q's the worst.
Is it? We don't have one around here. We've only got home base, and there's only a couple of things I'll get there. Everything else, we've got a tool station and a Screwfix, and I'll go to one of them instead.
Hang on, I've just opened the door. Does it sound any different? I've opened the car door. I'm starting to sweat because the sun's shining on the car. It's like I'm sat in a sauna. It'd
be like one of those. Get the RSPCA round, like when there's a dog in a car. It'd be like panting.
Oh my God! I've just looked at myself. I know that's not like me, and I'm bright red. I've got that proper like you know when you go nervous because you're doing an interview. Oh, I'm nervous.
You know when you set your mirrors up in your car, instead of trying to see the cars behind, are you usually
they're on me
facing?
Yeah, they are on me. Hey, have you ever been looking at yourself and nearly run into the back of someone, or is that just me?
That's just you.
Oh my God, it's a horrible feeling. You're just having a quick glance, just like messing with the hair, trying to like cover the bald spots.
Well, I have that problem. Don't worry. Yeah. I have that issue.
Horrible.
Let's have a quick chat about our guest today. Now, it's great. It's our first. Is it our first non-Brit?
No, we did Brad Binder.
Oh, of course, did Brad Binder. Okay, first non-English speaker. That's what I was getting at. Basically,
we've picked a good one.
Yeah, well, we've got...
As in he speaks perfect English.
Oh, absolutely perfect English, and a lovely
better
chat
than me and you.
With it. Yeah, well, this is the problem we're going to have, is that he'll show us up without a doubt. And he's shown a lot of people up over the years. Started racing late, 19 years of age, I think it was, when he came in. Never went through the Spanish system. Had a tragedy. His dad passed away when he was young. Moved over to the east coast of Italy, up to the Riccione, the area where Valentino Rossi's from, and a lot of the Italians are from that area. And came through the Superstock classes. European Superstock, won that, made his way into Moto2, and he arrived on the scene, and you thought, yeah, he's clearly got some talent, but raw. And he's become, since then, part of the Valentino Rossi Academy, became Moto2 World Champion in 2017, moved up to MotoGP the following year, then went into the Petronas team when it was started last year. Had an impressive season last season. Of course, I'm talking about Franco Morbidelli, you know, because you've already pressed it to download this podcast. But, Neil, I'm excited about speaking to Franky, who is perhaps the coolest, the most laid-back MotoGP rider. Is that fair to say?
He's got his own personality, hasn't he? He's so laid back. Like, I interview him on the grid, and, you know, I mean, you don't get a more tense part of the weekend. When you're on the grid, you are so nervous. When the race starts, it's actually okay, because you've got a lot on your mind, but sitting there, everybody's anxious, and he is Mr. Cool. It's just like, you know what I'm like? I'm excitable at the best of times. But, like, I'll ask him a question, and he's just a real matter-of-fact, no BS, no PR spin. He's straight talking, nice bloke. I don't know him that well. He's one of the riders I'm not too not friendly with. You don't see him about, really, do you, Gav, if you think about it? He sort of keeps out of the way. When you see him, he's very polite, smiley, happy-go-lucky. But you just sort of, I don't know, like a Jack Miller, you see him like 20 times a day, don't you?
Razzing around the paddock.
yeah, you know what I mean? Where Franky's... I just looked, you know, I did a bit of research on him this morning, and I look and I'm like...
What? A bit of research? What is this? You've changed since you've become a sprayer.
So anyway, you're a dick. I laughed. It's like, God, he's only 25.
Yeah.
He seems older because he's mature and he's calm, and, you know what I mean? I don't know, he seems like he's 30.
He does seem worldly, doesn't he? There's something about it. He's half Italian. Father was Italian. His mum's Brazilian. So he's got that split helmet. I always love that helmet. Italian flag on one side, Brazilian flag as well on the other side. I think there's something feels more Brazilian about him than Italian. Don't you?
Me too. 100%. Yeah. And I think because there's so many Italians in the paddock that look Italian and seem Italian, he doesn't seem Italian. He has got that Brazilian look about him. And do you know what? And I know you know this, Gav, but bloody hell, he can ride a bike.
Yeah.
He's seriously
Well,
good.
last
Seriously
year,
good.
he had Fabio Quartararo as a teammate. Bear in mind, the year before, he'd been on the Mark VDS bike, hadn't he, in MotoGP. And then he switched from the Honda to the Yamaha. So it was a learning process. And that first year on the Honda was a customer Honda. We all know how good they've been over recent years, don't we? So it had been a tough baptism in his rookie year. However, I think if Quartararo hadn't been there last year, we'd have been quite impressed, wouldn't we?
Definitely. He qualified in the front row quite a few times. He didn't get a pole position. He was second a few times, wasn't he, actually, to his teammate, Quartararo. Yeah. He had 4 fifth-place finishes. The thing is, though, if you look at his season, he wasn't inconsistent. He finished 10th in the world. But there were a lot of races, Gav, where he was right up there, battling at the front. But that's one of the questions I want to ask him. It was almost like he didn't quite finish some of those races off. What's going to make the difference this year? Was that down to inexperience, making just one mistake? Whatever, you know what I mean? We'll find out. So we haven't got him for long. I know that. How long has he said we can get him for?
Yeah, 20 minutes or so.
About 20 minutes. Oh, which is long enough.
The thing is, they've been able to go back training in Italy. And I don't know if you've seen, well, you will have seen, because I sent you some of the pictures and some of the videos, but he's been out with Valentino Rossi and with Luca Marini, and they've been they've been having some fun. Oh, it does make you slightly jealous, doesn't it? They have been having a right old time out on the bikes. So they just had to slot us in. So we've been asking for a while for this, as we have for a few others. Say no
Don't
more.
mention Petrucci. Go on.
I've not mentioned him. I've not said a word.
I was thinking this morning. I woke up this morning and I thought, bloody hell, if Gav mentions, anyway, we're supposed to be getting Petrucci later this week. I am gonna flip.
Silent. Not even said
I was
anything
thinking,
about
he
it.
follows me on Twitter. I'm sure he follows you. We can. I think we should. I'll just private message him.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that on Instagram anyway.
Obviously, the PR guys, who we get on with, what's it called?
Arthur. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
just had a baby. You see, this has come right in the middle of Arthur having a baby. So anyway,
fair enough.
We weren't going to talk. We weren't going to mention it. I didn't even want to mention it. I didn't want to talk about it.
Bloody Petrucci this, Petrucci that. Bloody just sort him out, Gav.
Anyway, we're talking about another Italian now, and we are talking about Franco Morbidelli, and he's going to join us right now. I think we may have Franky there.
Yes, I'm here.
Buongiorno.
Hi, Gavin.
How are you doing, Franky? Good to speak to you. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Neil is also here. He's Neil Hodgson's just in his car at the moment. So we're speaking to him in his car.
How are you doing, Franky?
Fine, Neil. How are you?
All good. Ready to get back.
Where are you driving to?
I'm sat at my friend's place. My friend is called Dickie, and he's a paint sprayer, and I've been helping him doing some paint spraying.
Cool.
I'm loving it. I've got a new job, Franky.
Sounds nice.
I've got a real job. It's a real job. It's good fun. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm doing paint spraying. I'm paint spraying some motorcycle parts, so fairings, tanks. So if you ever need any work doing, remember.
Okay.
I'll give you my number later, and you can just,
I'll give you a call
if any of the VR46, if Valentino needs anything painting, anything, just send it over to me. I'll do you a good deal. That's all I can say.
Thanks for proposing.
Yeah.
He's a salesman. He's always looking to get an angle in. But Franky, you've actually you've been back with the gang this week, haven't you? You've actually been able to go back to the ranch. I saw some video of you out with Valentino and Luca this week. How much of a relief was that?
Yes, we've been back with the gang, and it was a great relief. It was a great relief after so much time far from what I've always done in my life and what has always been close to me throughout all my life. It was nice to get back at it, after 2 months of nothing, basically. So
were you a bit rusty? Were you a bit rusty? Did it feel, or was it like one of those? They always say getting back on a bike is just, you never forget that. But was there a bit of an edge where you felt, oh, okay, this is what it's like to lose the rear again when you're flat tracking?
No, I mean, I didn't feel rusty, but of course, maybe I looked a bit, stiff. Stiff. They told me stiff. So yes. It felt exactly the same as the last time I left a bike, but maybe it didn't look exactly the same.
Franky, how does it work when you arrive there? Is everything structured? Is there a plan? Is it like, so today we're going to be the flat track bikes for 1 hour, then we're going to do some motocross? How does it work?
Well, so Vale at his place, he has an oval. He has a ranch, a dirt track. He has an MX track, quite an easy one. So basically, we talk before the starting of the week, and we try to choose which discipline we want to do in which day.
Yeah.
So for example, we say, okay, today we're gonna do just oval. So on the afternoon we ride on the oval, and that's it. Tomorrow we're gonna do motocross, and then we go at this track or on another track. So we choose the discipline, and we just do one discipline.
Right.
And do you, Franky, do you prepare your bike, or are there a group of guys who prepare things for you?
No. It would have been a big trouble if I had to do my bike.
Really?
Yes.
You're not technical. Are you not technical minded then? Are you?
I'm not technical minded. No. I'm more riding orientated, let's say.
I feel that.
That's a strange thing for me, because I grew up in a workshop. So my father was a mechanic. So it's pretty strange, but I cannot put my hands on any mechanical machine.
It's funny,
whatsoever.
isn't it? Because a lot of riders are a bit like that. Neil, were you a bit like that as well? Your dad was a proper fettler, wasn't he? Not even. I mean, he built bikes, so.
Exactly, and my dad was a good tuner, really good at everything involved with motorcycles, and I'm the total opposite. I'm like Franky, and what would happen is, though, he'd do all the work on the bike, and then he'd say, like on the motocross bike, when I was a kid racing schoolboy motocross, he'd say, put the seat and side panels on. And I'd do that, but then I'd cross-thread putting the bolt in, and then my dad would go crazy angry, So then it made me nervous. So now I keep away from touching bikes. I like people to do everything for me. I'm a bit lazy that way, but
that's much better. That's much better, Neil.
Yeah.
Working, and then after that riding, it's too much of work.
Exactly.
Either you ride it or you work on it.
I totally agree.
The only thing after riding is a beer and something to eat, obviously. You don't want to be messing around. Just maybe wash your hands first. But Franky, when you're doing these different things, we were talking about it before with myself and Neil. You do your flat track, you do your motocross. Sometimes you go out at Misano. You've been out. I've seen in the past that you've done those sorts of things on street bikes. Who's quick? We all want to know. Is it the same person every time, or?
Well, so depends by the discipline. So for sure, motocross is Manzi.
Really?
Yes, he's a great MX rider.
Really? That's interesting.
He used to do it when he was a little kid. So he started off by doing that. So he starts as a motocross rider, and then he transforms as a road bikes rider. Sure, he's the fastest on MX, and then at the ranch, which I think that's where there is the most of challenge,
Yeah, it's more balanced.
Yes, because there's a big battle between Luca, Vale, me, Pazo. Mino is fast as well.
Mino's one of our favourites, Frankie.
We love Mino. We love him. He makes us laugh.
We all love Mino.
Hey, you know what, Frankie? Since you joined the academy, you moved over to Riccione, didn't you? From a young age, your father moved your family over from Rome, but
yes.
that to get into motorcycling. But since you've joined the academy, everything seems to have exploded for you. And you didn't come through the normal route like Moto3 and the CV. You came from Superstock. You came across to Moto2, and you started racing late. You must feel like you not owe a lot to the academy, but it's been your I don't know how to describe it, the rock that you've been able to lean on.
Yeah, for sure. The academy was a boost for my career. All the guys from the academy helped me out very, very well during all my career, and they for sure they gave me a kick in the butt when I had to jump from stock 600s to Moto2. For sure, it would have not been a natural step for a rider coming from another environment, you know. So after winning the European Championship, I seriously doubt that if it wasn't for the academy, I would have not jumped to Moto2. So was all thanks them, and thanks to the teams that gave me the opportunity to show my potential, even if I was coming from another world, let's say. So yeah, definitely the academy did a great job with me, and they're doing a great job with all the other riders that they have.
And Frankie, can you imagine? So that's about 6 years ago when you moved from European Superstock to the Grand Prix paddock. That first year when you arrive there and you're nervous, and obviously everything seems big, and your heroes are there riding. If somebody had have said to you then that day, "Don't worry, Frankie, in 6 years from now you'll be doing MotoGP and potentially Valentino Rossi will be your teammate
and a world champion."
Oh yeah, you'll have won the Moto2 World Championship on your way, of course. What would you have thought?
No, I wouldn't have imagined such a nice future for me at the time. I was just doing my thing. I was just riding, and I was just trying to adapt, and I was just trying to don't be eaten by this world, you know. I just wanted to show up and do my thing at best, and do the best that I could, and even better, because I didn't want to just take part, but I wanted to be over there, you know, be on top spots, trying to fight for top position, because it's always what I was used to. So when I was racing with pocket bikes, I was always used to fight for top spots, and then when I moved into the other championship where I raced, everywhere where I raced I was used to fight for top 5. So once you get used to that feeling, you know, once you get used to fight for top spots, you want it again, and you always looking for that again.
Yeah.
And I wanted to look for that feeling again, also in a championship that looked so far from me and looked so higher than me. I wanted to. I showed up, but I wanted to make good, not just to take part, as I said. And luckily we managed to do it.
And what do you think's made the difference, though? Like, you know, how have you been able to do that? Is that down to like massive self-belief, or just training, or what? Could like for the young kids that are listening, like, what advice could you give them?
So strangely, I took it easy, let's say. So I was hungry. I was I wanted to make good results, but I wasn't rushing into looking for those good results. So I wasn't burning my steps. I was doing every step that I was doing it according to the length of my leg, and everything I was doing, I was consolidating it with the guys that were working with me, and with the guys at home. And so it was it needed to be a fast process, but at the same time you needed to take it easy in order to make those steps stable and steady, you know.
Yeah.
So it's difficult as an advice, but the best advice that I can give, and what was useful for me, was to taking it the thing easy.
Yeah.
You know, not rushing too much into the next step, but taking it easy.
So yeah,
That makes
that
sense.
feels like the Brazilian side of you, definitely, Franky. We always say that you come across as you've got that Brazilian temperament a bit more, and I'm interested because, as you said, you're still young now, but it's been quite quick from starting relatively late, effectively in the World Championship compared to the kids like your teammate Fabio, who was junior World Champion at 13 and 14, and we spoke to you, didn't we, last year about that? And I always have this concern, Frank, and I'm sure you've met lots of racers who haven't made the grade, haven't made it up to the level that you're at now, who are cast aside maybe at a young age. And that's the concern, isn't it? With people like Fabio, who's 20, that everyone's going to be looking for the next Fabio when there are actually Frankies out there who have got the talent and have got the ability. Does that make sense?
So you need to come again. So I can understand better the question.
So I'm saying that I have a concern that there are riders like yourself who are just getting into Moto2 at 19 or 20 and haven't come the traditional route. Yeah. Yet it looks now like a lot of the team managers in MotoGP, for example, are looking for the next 15-year-old kid, or looking for the next Fabio Quartararo, for example, because he's 20 and he's had a pole position and he's challenged, so on and so forth. When we know there's talent like yourself and what you've been shown you're capable of out there, does that make sense? Do you feel that there is too much looking at young riders when you're saying take your time, find your feet?
Well, the truth is that for the team managers and for the show, it's more entertaining, and it's more exciting to see a young rider and a young talent doing great stuff, as Fabio is doing right now. I mean, that's interesting and that's exciting. Talent is everywhere. I mean, talent, you can find talent everywhere. You have to, I think in this world there are many riders with talent, but you have to work on yourself. You have to work on your talent. You have to have good people surrounding you. So this is not always the case. But if you start early being a fast rider, if you start early being a successful rider, you have much more opportunities to go ahead, because you're much more of an exciting material than maybe a little bit older guy that is growing up in another championship and is going fast, okay, but not super fast.
But the cream generally, doesn't it, rises to the top at the end of the day. That's generally what we say in racing, isn't it? So I just wonder, Franky, though, because now there is talk that your teammate, we know Fabio's going to the factory team, your teammate next year might be the most veteran of all, might be Valentino. What would you think about that if that were to happen?
That my teammate could beat Valentino?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. It could happen. It can happen. I mean,
You don't know any secrets you can tell us
about who?
about Valentino, about them possibly being your teammate.
No, I I don't know any secrets, Gavin. I don't know any secrets. I'm reading the newspapers as you guys. So I have the same info as you.
That's good diplomacy. Good
Frankie,
diplomatic response.
we don't have the information, but what we do is we make up the stories.
Ah,
So
just like the
we
rest
have
of the media.
yeah, we have a lot of fun. We have a lot of it. We get a lot of enjoyment out of making up our own stories.
yeah,
Quite
yeah.
interesting.
It's a really fun thing
Yeah,
to make up stories.
exactly.
And, it's nice. It's nice. I like your style.
Frankie, last year you was very impressive. You know, it was your second year in MotoGP, first year on the Yamaha. You finished 10th in the championship. You had 4 fifth-place finishes, but also you were right up there in the mix in a lot of races. We saw a lot of you. What's going to make the difference from the 5th-place finishes? What's going to make the difference? How are you going to be able to finish off? Because in some of them races, it looked like, oh, this weekend it's going to be a podium for Frankie, and then it didn't quite happen. What pieces we'd explain it this way? What pieces of the jigsaw are missing?
So, yes, last year was a positive year for me. I was fast. I had a good level throughout all the championships, especially towards the end. But I wasn't the fastest inside the team, and this is a thing that was burning a little bit inside me, So I tried this winter to sort out something to step up my level, and I tried so hard this winter to understand how to do it, how to jump on on that podium on some, and try to step up my game to challenge my teammate, which is unbelievably fast. So, and challenge all the other guys of the pack. So I thought about it, and the truth is that I try to understand what who was doing better than me last year did. So I tried to understand what Fabio did, and I tried to understand his training. I tried to understand his riding. I tried to understand how he approaches and why he's so fast during a single lap and why he's so fast during all the race also. So I tried to understand those things, and I tried to improve myself first of all, under the point of view of the fitness, under the point of view of being a much more of a professional during my home staying. So I tried to do that, and we arrived at the tests, and we arrived in a very good shape. We arrived well. We had a good package, even though we had the 19 bike with some upgrades. We were competitive, and especially in the last test, we were super competitive. So that was a great start. Then all this nightmare came, and we don't know what I could have done. But I hope that we could be able, and we can be able to see what I'm capable of in a short time.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's just it's basically a bit of everything. It's not just one thing. Like you've just worked on your fitness. It's analyzing everything, fitness. Trying to.
So to answer to your question, what I was missing last year was speed in race. Consistency in the race. I was dropping at one point, or I didn't have. I looked at the pace in the practices, and then in the race I didn't have the pace at all. So it was a little bit like that last year. So we tried to work a lot in the tests on used tires. We tried to work with the race pace, and which we didn't quite do too much last year, because we were chasing a lot the performance, because we were chasing the performance we were trying to match the performance of my teammate. We were trying to match the performance of the other Yamaha riders. So we lost a bit the eye on consistency.
Yeah.
While luckily this year we showed up at the first test and we immediately had the performance. We were fast, so we had the chance to concentrate more immediately on the race pace and on the pace with used tires, and we were able to get better and better at it. And finally in Qatar we had one of the best paces that were on the track. So that was a good feeling, and it was a relief. But then after that, all this thing came.
Yeah, which is a shame that you weren't able to show it. Neil, I think before we let Franky go, we need to hit him with the quick fire questions.
Yeah, Franky, basically how this podcast works is we have a little chat, and basically we call them the soft questions, the easy questions. Because Gav's not got a lot of experience at interviewing people. So then the quick fire round, I control. It's high level questions. You might have to use extra brain power. So they're just quick questions, and it's so that the people at home can really get to know Franco Morbidelli. So first question is, as a kid, what poster did you have on your wall in your bedroom? Like, was it a motorcycle racer? Was it a girl?
Poster. I have Ayrton Senna's poster in front of my bed since I'm a little kid, and I still have it, and I still bring it in whichever home I live into. So
Brilliant.
I moved 3 houses in my life, and I always had Ayrton Senna's the same Ayrton Senna's poster in front of me.
I love that. That's probably the best answer we've had, Gav, on that one.
It is, yeah.
Isn't it? Yeah. Franky, in England, we love to go to the pub. We like a drink. You know,
Me too.
Gav drinks shandy, which is like lemonade and beer. It's quite embarrassing, but that's another story. Franky, what is your drink? Me and you, we're going to go for a pint or go to the pub. What do you want? What's your drink?
So going to the pub, probably I would take a beer. I would take.
Good lad.
Yeah, I would take a beer. Yeah, a small one.
I was thinking.
No, don't spoil it.
I was thinking, Franky, that you might go for a caipirinha, something with cachaça in or something like that, and we were reminiscing about how drunk you get on a caipirinha.
No, don't tell me about caipirinha. I went to my mom's house the other day, and she made caipirinha, and I got a bit scared about caipirinha.
I'm lately. Not surprised.
It's a great cocktail, but the problem is if you have 3, you cannot walk. That's the problem, isn't it?
Yes, that's pretty much a problem of caipirinha.
So, Franky, you were born in Italy. Your mum's Brazilian, your dad was obviously Italian. So you know a bit about food. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but obviously coming from England, it's the best food in the world, and I'm sure you will appreciate that. So, what would be your favourite English dish?
My favorite English dish?
Yes.
Indian food.
Oh, good answer.
I mean, every time I go to Silverstone, because pretty much all my crew is English, and with one Scottish guy.
I was going to say, make sure you mention the Scot, otherwise you'll be in trouble.
Yes. Yeah, I don't want to fall in this mistake. And they always bring us to the Indian, to an Indian restaurant. So I think that Indian food is a big thing in England. I don't know.
Massive. Yeah, we all love Indian food. That's so true.
So I just eat Indian food in England. So
well, it is our national dish. Our national dish is chicken tikka masala.
Chicken tikka masala is your national dish.
That's pretty much. Yeah.
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So,
we love it.
Yeah.
You've had a busy day at the ranch. You've been riding around all day. You and all the gang, everybody. And then you go, oh, guys, we need to let's just go to the bar and have one beer, to cool off. Who is the person that is the slowest at going to the bar? Who is the guy who's not going to put his hand in his pocket like Gavin? Gavin always does this.
For sure, Antonelli, Niccolo Antonelli.
Really? Love it.
Brilliant.
Under the bus.
That's for sure. Yes.
I love that. So, last question. You're on the grid. You know, you're preparing for the race, and there's TV stations going round interviewing you on the grid. Who is your favourite person that interviews you on the grid? Now, I know Sky Sports we call him Wiggy, the guy. We don't like him. The guy who's got the bald head and wears the wig. We don't like him. So don't mention him. So is there any other one that interviews you on the grid that you like?
Oh, dear.
So,
oh, come on, Frankie. Don't let me down.
Okay, you come over pretty much many times, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Many times, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like your questions. I like your questions in the grid. I like your questions. And you also have that, that a little bit extra energy that gives you a little bit more motivation for the race.
Perfect. Frankie,
I like your style, Neil.
Frankie, I will send you the money. So.
No, just send me a new painted fairing.
No problem.
I tell you the bike, and you paint a fairing for me.
Deal. Done. I'll get my mate Dickie will sort that out. Me and him will sort that for you. How's that?
Brilliant.
Gav, I think we've finished on a high there.
Well, you have, haven't you? Because you've had praise off of Frankie, almost saying that you make him go quicker. Well, there you go. Frankie, we can't wait to see you back out on the racetrack, back out in MotoGP. We really appreciate you taking time out, because we know you're back training now. So good luck with the training. I hope everything goes well for you guys at the ranch, and we can see you back in the saddle in MotoGP, hopefully, fingers crossed, in July.
Finger crossed. Crossed. Hopefully we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Good stuff. Will you get your training in and up to speed, and hopefully you can put everything you tested into practice in the racing. So we'll see you then. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you,
Frankie.
Guys. Thank you, guys.
Grazie. Thanks.
Ciao.
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 You see, in that instance, you are allowed to say ciao, ciao, Neil.
Yeah.
When it's an Italian on the other end, not like last time with me.
I know.
It sounded like you're leaving a dinner party or a cocktail soiree with canapes. Ciao, ciao, darling.
It's so funny, but my dad always says ciao, and I cringe. I go, right, I'll see you, Dad, and he'll go, yeah, ciao. He's like, ciao, come on, Dad.
Mark Hodgson used ciao, really?
Mark Hodgson from Burnley says ciao. It's like, yeah, but with the Italians, it's definitely socially accepted, isn't it?
It is. I can't believe that he almost said there that when you speak to him on the grid, he gets get a bit of motivation in. I mean, you are just going to use that now, aren't you?
I mean, let's analyse what he said.
Basically, like the warm up man.
Yeah, I mean, he basically said, great questions on the grid, Neil. It's a pleasure talking to you. And the energy you've got inspires me to perform to a level that even I didn't think was possible. That's what I got out of that answer.
Is that what you took, is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm sat here with no pants on. I'm just happy.
Creepy. So creepy.
Weirdo.
There's not someone walking past with a dog, is there?
Stop talking, you lunatic.
Hey, I could have spoken to Frankie for probably another few hours.
I know.
Because he's still, I mean, he answered well and he speaks so well. I mean, some of the words he uses, I'm thinking, we would never come out with something like that. That's how you should be saying it properly. He explains, but he takes his time over things and he's very detailed in what he says. But there's always a little bit of intrigue there, isn't there? There's always, you want to go back, but there were other things that we wanted to speak to him about.
Yeah, and there is. And what was nice is that wasn't your typical PR interview. No. Yeah, for sure, the team's working well, hopefully tyres are going to be good this year. All that bullshit that we've heard a million times. He thought about the questions. If he didn't understand the questions, he asked you to repeat yours. You know what I mean? He thought, because he wanted to give you an honest answer and clear. And that's what he's like, isn't he? He's a very clear, straightforward, intelligent.
He's intelligent. That comes across, I think, with Frankie a lot.
Yeah.
that he's a thinking man's rider.
Yeah, well, think about the grid, the MotoGP riders. Who would you put in front of him in regards of intelligence, or equal? There aren't many, is there?
Not many, no.
Miguel Oliveira, I would say.
Yeah, Miguel is, he's smart.
But, the rest are out of the same mould, aren't they? A lot of them.
Yeah. Raw.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And do you think that he has the ability to get to the podium, as he said this year?
Yes.
Bearing in mind what he showed last year. And it was true, wasn't it? He qualified fantastic. He looked brilliant during practice. Yet, when it got to the race itself, was found wanting in the latter stages.
Yeah, and he answered that question well. I'm 100% confident that he will be on the podium this year, and potentially, well, if you're on the podium, you're going to be battling for wins. So if you're battling for wins, you have a chance of nicking the odd one. So, yeah, he's an incredible talent. And the interesting part was he got caught up in the team with being the slower of the two. So his focus, and it's stressful when your teammate's faster than you. It's really hard, especially when your teammate's a rookie that nobody expected anything from. So what happens?
Have you been in that position? Have you been in that position ever?
Yeah, a few times, and it's hard. And what you do is you focus on trying to be faster. You think I'm stating the obvious, but whilst you're focusing on trying to be faster, you're taking your eye off. You actually need to be fast in the race. So, Fabio Quartararo was fast in every session, if you think about him, last year.
Yeah.
I mean, he topped so many sessions. So what's happening is Franky's then focusing on, let's stick another tyre in and let's try and, I need to find some time. But whilst you're doing all that, you're taking time away from, no, we need to make sure the setting feels good after 15 laps. What does it feel like after 15 laps? So I think that's what he's saying. He got caught up in that, which is an easy mistake to make. But he won't get caught up in it again, will he? You know what I mean? He knows what he's done wrong there, so
I did like what I like the fact that he said when they got down to testing, it was about performance, and the performance was there straight away, so they could concentrate on the other side. But to me, he seems, because of the way he is, and he said it himself, didn't he? Don't rush things. Basically, that was what I took from him as a kind of advice. Don't rush things, and it's like it's worked for him in his career. Things have come to him a little bit later, and you just think, with a year on the bike, what's he going to be like in his second year on the bike? Could he surpass Fabio? Could he do that? Fabio's had 1 year stellar rookie, but we've seen before with Fabio him have great first years, or be flash, have this flashes of brilliance, but then drop back. There's a possibility that if things don't work straight away for Fabio, we don't want it to happen because he's an exciting prospect too, but there is a possibility that then that starts working on his mental side. Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to beat him, but I genuinely think he's got the chance to be a similar speed to him. So he'll beat him in the odd race, but Fabio is something special, isn't he? You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's another subplot, isn't it? It's another keep your eye on that team.
He's got someone in his box there as well, someone in his gang. Not to mention Stewie Miller, who he did, the Scot who's in his crew, who is important that he pointed out was Scott. But he's got someone as his crew chief in Ramon Forcada, who has done the business. I mean, he's been round the block more times than care to imagine. Someone who has worked with the best throughout his career and taken people like Jorge Lorenzo to world championships. That's not a bad person, is it, to have in your corner?
No. To have someone with that experience who knows how to win and expects to win, that plays a massive part. I've said it before. I've had great crew chiefs. A crew chief works almost as a sports psychologist. I tell you, when you get a good one, because they get to know you and they know when you're down, they know when you need a hug, or they kick up the backside, and they know how to press your buttons. A good one will, a bad one won't. So. It's interesting, and Forcada, he's got the experience. It is Forcada, isn't it? How do I pronounce his name?
Yeah, Forcada. Yeah, I mean you can.
Yeah. Well, it's Forcada.
You can say it as you want. Yeah. To try and make it sound funny, but
No, I'm being serious. That's how I'd say it.
No, but throughout the years, he's worked. He has worked with a lot of people over the years.
Yeah.
Whether
old Ramon.
Yeah.
Ramon. He's like
as
ramen
in noodles.
As in the noodles. Way.
Blooming heck.
Right, Gav, I've got to get back to work.
Oh,
Somebody's
sorry. I thought you were on
Some of us work.
on your lunch break.
I only get half an hour.
Oh gosh.
Dickie's gonna go mad.
He's gonna dock your pay. I bet he is.
No,
I
but
bet as well. You're asking for money, aren't you? At the end of this,
Shut up! As if I'm like that. Right, listen.
you are, aren't you? Are you getting
Shut
your
up.
little one of those little brown pay packets, the little ones?
Oh, I'm not joking. I would love to receive one of them. The old brown pay packet. Oh, that feeling of.
And it's
look at
folded
that.
up inside it.
Yeah, there is not a better feeling, is there? No, what I'll do,
it's worse though when it's heavy because it's got all coins in the bottom. You think
when it's all coins. I remember that when I was a YTS builder. Honestly, Gav, you know you hear people say it, but genuinely, I got paid £29.50 a week for a year, and the boss, like a lot of my mates were YTS builders and joiners, and their bosses would always put a bit extra in. My bloody boss never did. So £29.50 bloody a week. And do you know what I had to do? Honestly, I'm not exaggerating. I had to pay £15 board. So
Obviously.
you weren't left with a lot, was you? Anyway, back to I'm going back into the spray shop. I'm going to tell Dickie, look, I'm sorry I've been on a bit, but I've got some good news. I'm going to get some fairings from VR46 to spray up. How's that sound?
I tell you what, I think you should get some done. He did, I think.
He sounded interested.
Yeah, a bit of business. Got some business for you on the east coast of Italy, Dickie.
I was doing a deal. Yeah.
How much is fluorescent paint? How much is fluorescent yellow and fluorescent green paint?
Bloody expensive. Yeah.
A pot.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Right.
Good
Thanks
chat,
very
Gav.
much to Franky. Yeah, he was actually.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that. A little bit
chat.
shorter than usual, but we have got some more coming for you very soon indeed.
Shut up, you absolute dick.
We do.
We've got someone coming up for you shortly. Danilo Petrucci.
No, I didn't say that.
No, but you're always insinuating it. It's annoying me.
I've not said anything of the sort.
Gav, I'm going to have to go, but listen, Gav, I'm going to have to go, but remember, I love you.
Get away. Go on. See you later.
All right.
Bye.
All right, love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Bye.